I'll try to demonstrate how my setup works today, and first I'll start with the Roland TR8s drum machine. On my first two channels, I have two kick samples. These are basically the same samples most of the time. Difference is that the first one is the main one, and the second one is set to the half of the volume and acts as an accented kick. I just use it to add a bit more variation to the main pattern, and generally this is how both of them will sound. I generally only play with the decay, attack, and the filter properties if I want to change them up a bit. And that's basically it with the kick part. There's nothing really much going on with it. After the kick, on these three channels, instead of toms, I have three hi-hat samples. I have a bunch of hi-hat samples installed here, and I don't really remember how any of them sound. So I need to be kind of careful when introducing them, because you never know how it will fit in a total mix. And generally I start with high cut filter and gradually add frequencies. And if I notice that it sounds out of place, I just cut it back off, maybe change the sample and start it all over again. So generally it will sound like this. It's also helpful to start with a decay a bit on the lower end. And there's also this third channel, which I did not use right now, but basically it's exactly the same. I keep playing between these three most of the time. I'm introducing one, cutting another one, and doing it over and over again. And in my opinion, this is what keeps most of the drum section interesting. Next, on these two channels, I mostly use snares and clap samples. And basically the same principle applies to these two. Because again, I have a bunch of samples, I don't remember any of them. So I just randomly select any of them and hoping for the best. Let me just add some clap and I can proceed with it later. So just a very simple pattern for the demonstration. It's right now it sounds very dry, but in the context with the synths and everything, probably it will sound a bit better. On these two channels here, I'm using regular 909s or 808s. They just sound, I mean, the hi-hats, the closed and the open. In my opinion, they sound very distinguishable, and I just like it, and tend to keep these two here. And on my last two channels, I'm using, most of the time I'm using 909 right cymbals. But difference is that those are tuned differently. For example, one of them might be tuned regularly and the other one might be tuned all the way down. And combining them together gives interesting results, in my opinion. This is how it will sound. basically it regarding the channels. Um, I don't really use any other samples, any other percussions, just heads, kicks, and claps and snares, and the rides, of course. Regarding the effects, I don't really use master effects at all. Maybe once in a while I will use it for the high cut filter, but yeah, that's about it. I mostly use the delay and the reverb for to do this tension build-ups and drops. I If you listen to any of my jams, you will probably notice that I play with the time and the feedback properties, also with the reverb level, and it adds a bit distinguishable sound to the build-ups that I'm trying to use. Um, Regarding this, I was inspired to do it by the Speedy J. He uses it all the time in his DJ sets, and I basically copied him. So if you want to hear more of the examples on how to use it, uh, maybe you can also give him a listen. So, but basically, this is how I use it, just for demonstration. Again, it's very useful if you want to do a random tension buildups, make things a bit more interesting, or maybe sometimes, um, in case you don't really know where to take things, you can just turn on the delay and reverb and use uh, this time while you are noodling with it to come up with some new ideas. This is what I generally do most of the times. Um, and that's basically how I use the drum machine. There's nothing really much happening to it. On top of that, I'm using, in this case, I'm using Neutron synth to send the bass line into external input of the TR8s, which then gets mixed with all of the drums and gets sent to this analog kit overdrive. I use it in a saturation mode, and it's it's really helpful to add a bit drive and character and a bit of compression to the whole drum mix. Um, this generally helps me to achieve the sound that I want with the drums, and the big part of it is adding the bass line on top of the drums. Uh, Probably it will be better to demonstrate how it sounds with and without it. Um, Hopefully you can hear the difference. Again, without any of the other synths, just the drums and this bass line might already sound enough for some people. And but one risk of it is that if you add too much bass to it, this will just swallow the most of the top end, and generally you need to be careful how you manage the mix. Um, Also, I tend to keep the kick decay very low because if you turn it up, all of this might be conflicted together, and generally it will start sounding very muddy and unpleasant, and probably that's not what anyone is looking for. So here's that how it might go wrong, just for demonstration. So if you noticed, the hi-hats just get swallowed with the bass, and there's nothing really much to hear on the top end. And I guess that's it with the drum machine part. So I guess I can move to the Eurorack now. First of all, I'm using Squarp Hermod and the voltage block sequencers. This is a pretty nice combo. Hermod accepts the MIDI clock from TR8s, and everything else is sequenced from Hermod. Next. First 5 channels I'm using to sequence all the synths here. 6th and the 7th channel are used as an LFO, and the last 8th channel is used as a clock and a reset for the voltage block. I already explained how I use a Neutron. I just send it to TR8s as a baseline. There's basically no patching going on in here, so I guess it is whatever it is. Other than this, I have Proton here. I also use a Hermod for sequencing. I'm using most of the time this random step generator. It's super simple to do it on Hermod. You just press this step and Y button together, and every time it gives you new patterns. And if you don't like it, you can just change it step by step by pressing the button in the encoder. On top of that, I'm modulating its oscillator pitches, shape, and the frequency cutoff with the voltage block. This helps me create this weird, kind of chaotic, broken melodies. It's a bit hard to explain. Probably it's better to demonstrate. I already prepared some sequence with it, so I'll let you hear it. I forgot to mention I'm using the Make Noise Mimeophon delay with the Proton. And this kind of melodies, I was very inspired by Stanislav Tolkachev. He does very similar stuff with the synthesizers. He always has this chaotic, kind of confusing melodies. And yeah, if you like what you heard, you probably will like Stanislav's music also. So that's hugely recommended. And I'm just using this. I'm just playing with the filter parameters here. Also oscillator shapes and width. Nothing really much. I don't really use the wave folder here because I think it sounds terrible, and probably that's it with the Proton. I don't really do anything much with it. Other than that, I also have this Vhikk X module, which is an oscillator and the FX unit, which is then sent into Oneiroi, which is also an oscillator and FX unit. But lately I've been using just as an FX exclusively. I'm using this combination of these two models to do this kind of weird drones, like this dystopic, or I don't know how to describe it. This also helpful with the chaotic sounds. Also can do some melodies, but it's a bit hard to manage, honestly. I'm also using a voltage block to sequence it. You can choose I don't know, random parameters here. It has many modulatable options. All of them can give you different results. So I guess it's up to you, whatever you choose. And on Oneiroi, I'm mostly modulating this filter property with the voltage block. And but I also prepared some example for the Vhikk and Oneiroi, and I'll let you hear how it sounds. Probably not the best example, but hopefully you understood it. You can use Oneiroi to also do some build-ups and releases and drops or whatever. It has a few very nice effects like resonator, delay and reverb, and you can combine it, play with all of them, and get pretty nice results with it. Generally, I never played these two together. Most of the time I start with a Proton. I play with it for like 4 minutes, then gradually turn it down and start introducing Vhikk, for example. It might be a bit risky because you actually never know how it sounds until you turn up the filter. So there is a slight chance that it might sound terrible, but I guess that's okay in this improvisational settings, because things like that can happen, and it's easy to get used to. So in that case, I just turn it down on and switch back to this to the Proton or whatever I have instead of this again. The main thing is not to overthink it and just move on quickly and try to find something else that works better. Other than this, I also have this Mutable Instruments Plaits module in here, but currently I'm not using it. It's just sitting here, just taking space. Maybe I will talk about how I use it later when I change the setup. And I guess that's pretty much all of my gear in here. The last piece of equipment I have this Allen and Heath Xone 96 mixer. In this setup, it's kind of an overkill because I basically never touch it when I'm playing. I just set the uh, low cut frequency. I mean, I'm just cutting the low frequencies on all of the channels except for the drums, of course. And yeah, I'm just leaving it as it is. I also DJ on a site, and it is worth for me just for that reason. But yeah, if you don't, then probably it will be better to get something more cheaper and smaller and affordable than this. Uh, and yeah, hopefully I didn't miss anything. In case you have any questions, just let me know.